Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So the crypto summit was definitely a bit of a disappointment, especially if you were, betting big on the fact that XRP was going to be included in the strategic reserve. We basically got lied to, made a video about it last night. But now the big focus is what's actually happening behind all of the noise, because I do think that the reserve is just a small piece of what we should be focusing on. Because we are starting to see some very big moves happening from the regulatory side, which I think is the most important side of all of this, because let's just be honest, the reserve is not going to get us to the point where XRP is going to be plug and played within the financial system. It's going to be the regulatory discussions and the moves being made around regulations that will actually pave that road forward. So as we do start to look at that, well, we get announcements like this. Big shout out to Subjective Views for this. We have the green light for federal banks and blockchain adoption. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has confirmed that federal banks are now allowed to engage in crypto-related activities, including providing custody services for crypto assets, holding deposits that back stablecoins as reserves, and the use of DLT along with stablecoins to support their authorized payment operations. A monumental shift. Now, if we think about what's been happening, we go back to, just a little bit ago, right? It's like the end of January, and I did make a video on this, where SAB 121 got repealed. Now, this was a huge one because this basically allowed banks to custody crypto. This is just another, additive to that, because it's not only including crypto custody services, it's also holding deposits that back stablecoins as reserves, and even the use of DLT along with stablecoins to support their authorized payment operations. Now, this is the floodgates that I aligned with even Monica Long from Ripple. She's the president at Ripple. I even said that the floodgates are opening. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. And this is a big one because Bank of America said that they're ready. Morgan Stanley said that they are ready. I would assume that almost every single major bank out there is ready to offer crypto services, including, of course, payments utilizing DLT and stablecoins. And what's even crazier about all of this, right, is that this is what happened in the last few days outside of the summit. Number one was the strategic Bitcoin reserve announced, which, again, if you care about it, you care about it. If you don't, you don't. The OCC affirms crypto activities permissible in federal banking system. The White House Crypto Summit, the SEC dismissed enforcement action against Kraken. Senate voted to kill IRS DeFi broker role, and weeks when decades happen, basically. So what he means by that is we are seeing so many big updates in such a short amount of time that it feels like, these types of moves would happen over a decade, but that are actually happening in weeks. And somebody else said something similar to this just a few weeks back when we started to see some of the regulatory shifts from the SEC. They were like, wow, the SEC is doing, in days what the previous SEC couldn't do in over 4 years. And it is kind of crazy to think about it like that, but it is true. Like, we are starting to see some of the biggest moves happening around crypto, even though price action isn't following through with it. But it's exciting because we're starting to see the things that actually need to happen behind the scenes. I mean, it's just that simple. But yeah, we do hope for, much more positive price action along with this. I do think that will happen once we do start to see the big headline articles that, pretty much confirm that these big banks are using this tech. But I do think that this is a big update, especially coming from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, because it definitely does put a spotlight on how significant this technology will be. When the banks start really kind of engaging in cryptocurrency activities, that's basically when everyone should wake up and really focus up, because that's where all of the big moves really start to happen. That's where we start to see trillions of dollars flooding into this space. That's where we also see trillions of dollars even being tokenized as well. But here we actually have the full breakdown from, of course, the OCC. So number one, we have the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency today took action to reaffirm that a range of cryptocurrency activities are permissible in the federal banking system. The OCC published interpretive letter 1183 to confirm that crypto asset custody, certain stablecoin activities, and participation in independent node verification networks such as well, it's distributed ledger, but it's basically DLT, are permissible for national banks and for federal savings associations. The letter also rescinds the requirement for OCC supervised institutions to receive supervisory non-objection and demonstrate that they have adequate controls in place before they engage in these cryptocurrency activities. So this is basically a complete green light for any of these institutions, any of these major banks that actually want to engage, because all of the big obstacles around them that technically in the past have held them back, that's all getting torn down right now. This is actually huge. And we have the OCC expects banks to have the same strong risk management controls in place to support novel bank activities as they do for traditional ones. Today's action will reduce the burden on banks to engage in crypto-related activities and ensure that these bank activities are treated consistently by the OCC, regardless of the underlying technology. I will continue to work diligently to ensure regulations are effective and not excessive while maintaining a strong federal banking system. So again, they're still acting in the sense of, the regulatory side of things, really kind of making sure that everything is safe. But they're not acting in an excessive force, essentially, completely shutting everything down, completely blocking everything off. They're making sure that this technology does thrive. Like, we could actually utilize this tech. Now the banks have access to this tech, and we are going to see what matters here. Like, when we think about, DLT, when we think about stablecoins, this is basically that initial test. And it's the real test. It's not the trials or anything like that. No, this is like going to be the real test to really kind of show us what is possible with this tech and why we need to take this tech seriously. So I'm actually very excited for a lot of these big obstacles to be, getting torn down. I think that this is a game changer. It really is a game changer. Now, outside of this, we have over here, because this is the big news behind all of this. Oh boy, Treasury Secretary, we're going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime, and as President Trump has directed, we're going to keep the US dollar the dominant currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that. What are stablecoins? These are cryptocurrencies designed to have a steady value, $1 per coin, often pegged to the US dollar. In essence, he's signaling a strategic approach to regulate stablecoins, possibly encouraging their use under US oversight, so they support the dollar rather than compete with it, preventing a rival like a Chinese digital yuan from taking over. Why this is a big deal. The US dollar's current status gives us huge advantages: cheap loans, sanctioning power, and global influence. Stablecoins moved $10 trillion in 2024. With China pushing its own digital currency, Trump is basically fighting it back to make sure the dollar remains king, and it will for decades. All the while, blockchain technology gets more and more implemented into the financial system. Don't confuse blockchain with crypto. If you know what you're doing and what to invest in, if this goes through, you can make a lot of money. Now, before I play this clip, I gotta say, this is 100% true. Like, when we think about stablecoins, all right, we have the banks cleared to use stablecoins and offer certain stablecoin services. That's a huge deal. But also, on top of all of this, what have we been hearing about stablecoins? They are the key. They are the big thing to focus on around tokenization. They're the big focus, right now around even, tokenizing fiat currency, around the FX market. And now we have almost everyone talking about stablecoins because they're one of the biggest things that this space has to offer currently. And also, even the big Fed players and all of the big, even government players, all they are saying every single time that they talk about stablecoins is how it protects the dollar, how it backs the dollar, how it supports the dollar, how it's going to keep the dollar, the reserve currency. That's not light language. That's very strong talking points that tells us what they're going to be doing with stablecoins. They are going to adopt stablecoins. They're going to utilize stablecoins, and they are going to integrate stablecoins into the US financial system. But check out this video clip.
And the regulatory weaponization against digital assets. The Biden administration's actions did nothing other than punish innovators, and that all of you have made it here today is really a testament to your fortitude. Much of Treasury's responsibility in this order relates to the tax code and determinations around risk weightings, and I'm here to assure you that we are going to work with the controller of the currency, the IRS, and we're going to rescind and all applicable previous guidance. And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed. We are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that. Thank you.
So they are going to be using the stablecoin to actually support the dollar, back the dollar, and make sure that it does remain the dominant currency globally. It is going to remain the reserve currency. So they're going to utilize stablecoins to make sure that the US financial system is number one, essentially. And they're going to do this through the digital currencies because they already know at the end of the day what's happening. We are seeing a complete realignment of the financial system. It's moving from the traditional system to a much more digital based system. I mean, even China, China was ahead of the game for a very long time. The BRICS nations have been pushing for digital currencies. They've been pushing back against the dollar. They've been pushing back against the SWIFT system as well. And they're doing this using blockchain, DLT, digital assets. So now it's time for the US to be very quick with this. That's why we are starting to see things taking, just weeks that would originally take decades. It's because time is no longer on our side. So these things need to accelerate. Now, on top of this, right, what better company to utilize than Ripple that just launched a stablecoin back in December? It's fully compliant, fully transparent. It's regulated as well. And it's essentially created for institutions. 24/7, seamless on and off ramps, access to a complete overall one-stop shop to anything that any institution, any enterprise needs. I mean, what Ripple has created here, not just the stablecoin, everything that they have created is extremely valuable. It would be in the US's best interest to tap into what Ripple has created. Not only that, Ripple has been pushing stablecoins heavily lately. I mean, going all the way back to February 21st. The rise of stablecoins is accelerating the next evolution of finance, powering on-chain payments, DeFi, and cross-border commerce. Again, RLUSD continues to be highlighted by Ripple. And even over here from March 3rd, stablecoins are on the rise with over $220 billion in value circulating. What's needed to unlock mass adoption? Global regulatory alignment, reliable reserves and risk controls, compliance-driven approach, enterprise-grade custody, seamless customer experience as well. So again, you could see how much, the stablecoin side of things is being talked about right now. It is becoming a crucial piece of the internet of value, essentially. And also remember that Monica Long, the president of Ripple, was recently on the Tokenized podcast where she actually outlined the growing demand for stablecoins globally. Check it out.
So really, it was just recognition that, wow, this is a really big opportunity. There's gonna be more and more demand for payments through US dollar stablecoins. Being a provider to companies of that service, it would make sense that we launch our own. And, also a recognition that the stablecoin market has been growing and it's gonna balloon even more, especially seeing RWA tokenization on the horizon. It's gonna only drive more and more demand for stablecoins.
And that's the big thing here, right? Like the stablecoin market is massive. It's $220 billion as outlined over here by Ripple. But what she is saying is true, right? Like with tokenization, with the banks jumping in, with all of the big players on board, right? With tokenization, think about how big stablecoins actually will become. Like we're in the billions right now. Guys, stablecoins will at least hit $1 trillion. And that's still just a starting point. This space will become absolutely massive over the next few months. But the next few years, I'm telling you guys right now, we will rally against equities. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we think about stocks, equities, guys, it's over $100 trillion in value. We right now are touching almost 3 trillion. We have a long way to go from where we are right now. And stablecoins will be a big accelerator of all of that growth because of the value behind them, what stablecoins actually unlock. And they could definitely be a key to mass adoption as well, especially if we do have governments like the United States adopting stablecoin initiatives to actually back reserve currencies like the US dollar. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, set notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.